Headlines. Northern youth call on President Bola Tinubu to reevaluate cabinet and appoint action-oriented ministers. Plus, on the news, government officials appeal to the Nigerian youth to shelve the planned nationwide protests and support President Bola Tinubu's agenda. From the international scene, Russian President Vladimir Putin warns the United States against deploying long-range missiles in Germany. Details of those and more coming your way shortly. Do stay with us. Many thanks for joining us at this time. Now, details of the news. Coalition of Northern Youth Consultative Movement has called on President Bola Tinubu to evaluate his cabinet and appoint action-oriented ministers capable of driving significant economic change. The group says even though there are standout cabinet members like Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, Nyesom Wike and David Umahi, there was need to get more capable people whose performance underscore national growth, unity and integration. Addressing journalists in Kaduna, the convener Smaila Liu said that deteriorating insecurity coupled with economic hardship need people who are driven by vision and dedicated to Nigeria's advancement. The group says if government addresses pressing issues facing the masses like hunger, poverty and insurgency by involving all relevant stakeholders, the country will be better for it.
Deteriorating insecurity in the country, especially in the northern region, where we are right now, has led to a surge in criminal activities among youths, including kidnapping, armed robbery, etc., etc., etc. We urge the government to take immediate action to address these pressing issues to ensure the safety and well-being of citizens and create opportunities for our teeming youths.
The Senate's leadership of National Association of Nigerian Students (NANS) has declared that students in tertiary institutions across the country will not be part of the planned proposed nationwide protest slated for August 1st to 10, 2024. The student body, in a communique read by NANS Senate President Babatunde Akinteye at the 84th National Senate sitting held at the Polytechnic Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, noted that students would not be part of those who want to cause chaos and disrupt peaceful atmosphere of the country. Akinteye said Nigerian students will suffer most in the case the protest leads to violence because schools will be shut, and this will lead to an elongation of time Nigerian students will spend in their respective schools. The student leader said the protest lacks clear leadership and specific demands and poses significant risk to the nation if citizens fail to embrace caution in handling social issues. Akinteye stressed that despite not joining the protest, students and Nigerians generally are hungry, and federal government should look into the issue of hunger in the land, and education should be given priority. Earlier in his address at the sitting, the Oyo State Governor, Seyi Makinde, who was represented by the Senior Special Assistant on Student Affairs, Victor Olojede, urged Nigerian students to support the government in its effort to unite and develop the country.
Participate in any protest that could lead to anarchy, particularly the planned days of wage protest. Therefore, we encourage all Nigerian students to be wary of engaging in violent protests to prevent some of the dreadful repercussions that would accompany such acts, as we have recently witnessed in Kenya. Let us focus on protecting our nation and support the government's effort to create a better Nigeria transform and fortune. We should ask questions when needed in a well-coordinated manner, as we have always been done as comrades. Together, we can overcome these challenges and build a nation that provides opportunities for all its citizens.
The issue of Nigeria is not about the issue of an individual. It's about the issue of every one of us as Nigerians. And the government has said that I should tell every one of us that we should support Nigeria. Outside of political party, outside of whoever, what's important for every one of us is to support Nigeria.
And still on that, Nigerians have been charged to reflect on the importance of peace, dialogue and national unity rather than embarking on protest. President, Women for Peace, Security and Social Inclusion Initiative and wife of the late MKO, Tinualade Abiola, gave the charge at a sensitization program on the effect of protest on the nation's peace and economy, which held in Abuja. She urged citizens to reject violence and embrace constructive engagement as path towards resolving conflict and achieving all youth collective aspiration. Abiola advised everyone to bridge their differences through dialogue and seek common ground that allows Nigerians to move forward as a united people and the nation.
Today I stand before you not only as a grandmother, but as a concerned citizen deeply invested in the future of our beloved nation. Nigeria, our home, is a land of rich cultural diversity and immense potential. Yet we find ourselves at times grappling with challenges that threaten our peace and unity. Today, I wish to speak to you about the vital importance of peace, dialogue in conflict resolution situations, and the need for unity among us all. Peace is not merely the absence of violence, but the presence of harmony, understanding, and respect among all individuals and communities.
Other speakers at the sensitization program also appealed to the organizers of the planned nationwide protest slated for August 1st, 2024 to seek dialogue rather than protest. They also pleaded with the youth to give President Bola Tinubu good space and time to direct and coordinate all challenges being faced in the country.
Every mother has a child. So when you have a child, mother play more vital role in the life of a child than even the man. So that is why it's better for the mothers to be engaged in this dialogue, because their message gets quickly to their children than the father.
Institutions in the country. And when people looked at the lists, it looked skewed. There was a lot of marginalization the way it was done. The president himself said, when there was an uproar, listened and said, no, you have to go and redo that and make sure there's proper representation. That means the government is listening.
While still on that, government officials have appealed to the Nigerian youth to shelve the planned nationwide protest and support President Bola Tinubu's agenda. The appeal was made at the inauguration of the newly elected National Working Committee, members of Youth League of the ruling party in Abuja. In his remarks, the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Shipper Council, Pius Akuta, stated that the hardship Nigerians are facing will soon be subdued. He urged all citizens to remain calm as the government is already resolving to put a lasting solution to the challenges being faced as a nation.
They have seen it all. We don't have so much to say to them, but to say that we are building a country together, and this country is for the youth. We want them to support Mr. President's agenda and initiatives, and to ensure that the policies that Mr. President has put in place for the sake of the youth and for the progress of this country, they support that and see how they come to fruition. I know
as the clock ticks ahead of the planned nationwide protest over the current economic hardship in the country, anxiety and apprehension seems to be growing among millions of Nigerians over the likely turn of events following the already tense situation Nigeria is facing, as some Nigerians have called on the need to tread with caution and consult more, given that the present administration is not folding its arms in resolving the economic doldrums. Correspondent Gabriel Odia will find in this report. Take a look at Nigeria's state amidst call for a nationwide protest. The report.
While the stark realities of the obvious hardship on Nigerians smacks of anger given inflation, the high cost of food items and other commodities in the market, and the widening inequality and scarce resources among others dispute government measures to address the economic situation. Amidst call for nationwide protest, some student bodies say the call for protests may not be the answer to the economic hardship, but calls for more consultation and dialogue, as there is a likelihood that the protests may be hijacked.
I want to state categorically that we are not aware and the union is not planning any protest in any form, any day concerning the economic situation of the country. For me as a Nigerian, I'm aware of the current challenges and food insecurity, high rate of inflation, which are the global issue now, and it's unfortunate that I believe the protest now is not the way to go, because
protests in Nigeria most often is hijacked by miscreants, people who are not focused, people who are determined to cause mayhem, to add to our injury, will hijack this for their sinister motive. And so I will advise that we look for another platform to discussing how to end this untold hardship faced by Nigerians.
While they agreed on the overwhelming economic hardship on Nigerians, they called on President Tinubu to look at other ways of intervention to ameliorate the situation or revert to era of subsidy, since the removal has been the burn of hardship.
The country is tense and the economic hardship, the cost of living is so high. If people start to vent their anger on the country, it will not help even the leaders and the followers. So government have to come up with policies that will reduce this. And if we trace all these issues, they all boil down to the removal of subsidy on petrol. You know, the president has been trying in so many ways by giving palliative, but the palliative seems not to be yielding result. So government can also think, if the policy is not working, is to bring back the subsidy.
The government should look for ways to cushioning this hardship. If there are intervention packages that are being clearly spelled out to people that will help people to be able to go out of this hardship, it will help. For instance, some kind of interventions in the form of COVID-19 loans and grants. I tell you, the federal government have our BVNs.
They, however, called on stakeholders, politicians, not to stock the polity with unguarded statements, since the nation is grappling with insecurity and other challenges.
You're still on to the news in Galaxy Television. Coming up next. After our Race Committee of National Assembly has been advised to step in and conduct necessary investigation regarding controversy in the country's oil sector. Details of that and more coming after the break. Do stay with us. We are glad to have you back. Now, for more updates and latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect with us on our X handle at Galaxy TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Galaxy TV News. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Remember to follow and tag us on our Instagram page as Galaxy TV. You can also avail our eyewitness feature via WhatsApp If you have breaking news around you, simply share your story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818-6666-669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comments. Oyo State Post-Primary Teaching Service Commission, TESCAM, has rescheduled its timetable for computer-based tests coming up next week. The development came on the heels of the envisaged nationwide protest, which may commence on August 1st, 2024. Recall that the chairman, TESCAM, Pastor Akinade Alamu Inibado, announced that the CBT examination for job seekers was fixed for July 29 to August 2nd, 2024. He, however, said to forestall any unforeseen circumstances, the Commission and its partnering agencies agreed to compress the examination days to 3. He therefore announced that the examination will commence on Monday, July 29 to July 31st, 2024. They also maintained that all arrangements have been made with relevant stakeholders, adding that the change will not pose any threat to the candidates.
Of the situation in the country, there is a need for everybody to adjust to the trend that is going on, and so there will be a slight adjustment to the exercise of conducting CBT for these applicants, and in such a way that it will not pose any danger to the applicants and to the facilities of the University of Ibadan Distant Learning Centers, and to ensure that there is safety of lives and properties.
And to the story teased earlier, the appropriate committee of the National Assembly has been advised to step in and conduct the necessary investigation regarding the controversy in the country's oil sector. The ROI Youth Assembly made the appeal at a news conference in Abuja on Sunday, calling for necessary investigation into the controversy between NNPCL and UPRC, Aliko Dangote, and other regulatory bodies in the oil sector. Mohammed Denlami, the Speaker of the ROI Youth Assembly, urged Dangote Group to comply with the directives of the regulatory bodies and government regulations rather than trying to manipulate them for personal gains. He emphasized that these bodies have been established to carry out their duties and ensure compliance with rules and regulations, stressing that no individual should force the regulatory bodies to bend protocols to serve personal interests, which they described as selfish.
It is with deep sense of disappointment and distress that the ROI Youth Assembly invite you to this news conference to call the attention of Aliko Dangote to please respect and obey NNPCL as the country regulatory body. Since before the establishment of Aliko Dangote Refinery, the NNPCL, the Upstream Commission, and the NMDPRA has been existing to carry out their duties as regulatory bodies in the oil and gas industry.
The group also called on the National Assembly to make public the laboratory results from Dangote's refinery, alleging that the products are substandard. The group, however, emphasized that the Nigerian government is committed to excellence and will not tolerate any attempt to undermine regulatory bodies and manipulate rules for personal gains.
We are calling on the National Assembly to make public the laboratory tests from his refinery to the public, because information we are getting from different quarters shows his own products are substandard. The National Assembly went there. They said they made, according to him, there's a laboratory test and the results are out. He should bring the results out for us to see, and he should go to other marketers too. They should test their own products too, and so that we want to know the whole result of what is happening.
Now to other stories. The National Civil Society Council of Nigeria and NCSCN has dismissed the corruption allegation levied against the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited by the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project. The allegations by the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project (SERAP) claim that $2.04 billion and 164 billion naira in oil revenue were missing, based on the 2020 audited report by the Auditor General of the Federation. The Council's Executive Director, Comrade Blessing Akinlosoto, at a press conference in Abuja, stated that they had interacted with both the accusers and accused, reviewed relevant documents, and found no verifiable fraud. Comrade Blessing noted that NNPCL was not yet in existence in 2020, and the audited report in question actually referred to the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC), which was the predecessor to NNPCL. He also pointed out that NNPCL's management had provided the original audited account of NNPC, which was free of any verifiable fraud.
That despite the fact that no public institution in Nigeria today can be absolutely exonerated or given a 100% clean bill of health forensically in terms of corruption and bad health, yet we make bold to assert, without fear of contradiction or condemnation, that almost all the allegations leveled against the management of the NNPC Limited so far are unfounded and misrepresentations of facts and figures, going by verifiable evidence before the council.
To NNPC, like Malekari and others. I think that is where the confusion lies. So it is a totally different entity. This entity today is strictly linked to Extractive Industry Transparency International. You are aware we have even gone far to domicile ourselves as native. And by that, it is an international rating agencies that guide transparency in the issue of oil and gas in Nigeria and globally.
Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki has charged the federal government to learn from Edo State in distribution of palliatives to Nigerians. Governor Obaseki made this known during the second phase of the flag-off of food distribution program, where over 50,000 bags of rice will be distributed across the 3 senatorial districts to alleviate the suffering of the people. Addressing journalists after inspecting the bags of rice at a warehouse in Benin City, the state capital, Governor Obaseki said the federal government should borrow a leaf from Edo State government by exhibiting transparency.
You were in the warehouse with us, you saw the transparency with which they have run this program. Compared to what the federal government claims they are spending on palliatives, this is chicken change. This is a drop in the ocean. But if we did things properly in this country, what we have will go a long way. We know there are challenges, but we are not, our current leadership, we are not helping ourselves and we are not helping Nigeria. Look at how we have run this program, and I hope the federal government will come and take a cue, because this is what I've always argued. People know what they want.
Disregarding traffic rules can be seen as a deliberate attempt to endanger human lives and properties. The first serious consequence of disobeying traffic rules and regulations are the chances of a road accident, which in the best case scenario leads to damage of vehicles, with or without injury to persons involved. Motorists trying to cross railways without observing prerequisite caution have unleashed unnecessary terror many times. Galaxy News correspondent Lebi Joseph takes a look at the scenario in this report.
Obeying traffic rules and observing safety signs of every railway crossing is important, which every motorist should adhere to for the sake of safety of people's lives.
Major cause of disregard to traffic rules, be it on the highways or the railway track, is because there is no enough enlightenment or awareness. The Ministry of Transportation and the Federal Road Safety, then aside from that, Federal Railway Corporation, they are not discharging their responsibilities.
It's very unfortunate that Nigerians, or most especially Ghanaians, we are lawless. We don't only like to abide by the rules. And that one permeates into every sector every facet of our life, both within our environment or outside our environment.
Concerned authorities need to go back to original master plan for highways and railways, where road signs are visible and there are gate posts in all levels of crossing on railways.
Where there is no law, there can't be offense. Then once you know that there's law somewhere, definitely there must be an offender. Look at, assuming you are traveling abroad, you are traveling through the airports and all that, you want to check in. They have their rules and regulations. Have you ever seen anybody breaching those rules? You cannot, because they know that the sanction must follow.
If the government must take decisive action, number one, to deal with whoever violates the traffic rules or the railway rules. Then aside from that, the Nigerians should be enlightened in the media, in print media, on television, and even public awareness by using what we call town cry.
Another way to instill discipline in road users is enactment of existing laws on road usage and outright punishment of road offenders to serve as deterrents to others in the society. From Lagos, this is Lebi Joseph reporting for Galaxy TV News.
Still in Lagos State, in interest of environmental serenity, safety and sanity and maintenance of Lagos State's megacity status, the Lagos State Task Force raided several notorious black spots known for illegal drug peddling, hooliganism, miscreants, street trading. This task force raided Amikole Market, NERDC Street by African Shrine in Agidigbe area of Ikeja, which has been converted to trading pavilion on hard drugs market, restaurant, beer parlor on road, thereby causing serious human vehicular traffic obstruction and serious environmental nuisance. Activities of these suspected criminals at Amikole area of Jubifele Road by African Shrine and NERDC Street, especially at night, is dangerous to humanity at all levels. They sell drugs indiscriminately there, which is counterproductive to the society, and they also contribute immensely to traffic build-up on adjoining roads at night, when workers who have spent all day at work still have to spend hours to get home. Akarili said the agency will comb every places where activities of men of underworld have impeded serenity and orderliness of environment in the state. Consequently, a total of 124 suspects were arrested, carefully screened, and those with genuine business were allowed to go, while others will be charged to court. Farmers in Edo North Council areas advised the federal government to ensure that the plant distribution of fertilizers in Auchi are monitored and not diverted. This was made known by Chairman Edo North Farmers Association Alhaji Mohammadu Abdullahi while speaking with Galaxy News in anticipation of the federal government fertilizers. According to him, the federal government wants to ensure that the fertilizers get to farmers alone and not otherwise, in ensuring that it contributes its quota on food security issues affecting the nation.
The government should also take very serious steps that this fertilizer should be monitored and make sure that only the farmers got fertilizer. You talk of Auchi farmers, you talk of cooperatives, let them be informed and give this fertilizer to the real farmers.
So we want them to set up a committee that will monitor this fertilizer so that the people can reach the people who are really the farmers. Let them go and find out all the cooperatives that are the existing cooperatives that can do work, that can do this, and they give them fertilizer to do their farm. We did not say they should give us cooperative farmer fertilizer to sell. Give the cooperative farmer to the people fertilizer so that they will do their farm.
Flood is very important for natural environment. Flooding is essentially good for the health of floodplain vegetation and can act as a trigger for germination of new plants, and a number of bird and fish species also rely on flooding to provide sustainable breeding conditions. Despite these benefits, the negative impact of flood on human environment cannot be overemphasized, as these can lead to loss of lives and properties. Galaxy TV Busan Yakusak sent in details in this report.
It is hardly surprising that rivers have been an important part of human history. They provide food, fresh water, and fertile land for growing crops. While water is essential to life, it can be a destructive force too. When rivers flood, the effect can be catastrophic. Flooding is one of the most common types of natural disaster, and the results are often fatal. The aftermath of flood can be devastating. Deadly waterborne diseases like dysentery and cholera spread quickly, and those who survived face the threat of starvation, amongst others. The human cost of flooding can be large, but events like this have a big impact on the natural earth too, and the effects are not always negative. In fact, some ecosystems rely on seasonal flooding to drive ecological processes. Some victims of flood narrate their ordeal as they lost their loved ones from this avoidable natural disaster.
There is rain that passed with our brothers. So we really came to Kaduna around 7:30 in the night. So as we reached the place, we find out that the children were missed, and we followed them off to the place that people are expecting to see them. We reached the place. Unfortunately, we did not see them. We now came back around 9. After we slept, then in the morning around 6, we left home again to the place. After we reached the place, we found out that the children were under stone, one big stone. Only one of them, that's our junior brother that we found in the place. After they come, we start preparing for him. We do everything that religion designed for us to do. We did it religiously, and we finished. Around 11, our parents come from Zaria. Then we take him to where to pray for him, and we pray. After that, we take him to the graveyard.
That was around 8:30. I was not at home. That was exactly when I'm back to my home, and I had the issues of how the rain and how children walk into the gutter. So probably I was told that one of my stepsister's son was involved in swimming down to the stream, and definitely I was told that he has lost his life.
These victims of flood disaster are appealing to government and community members to ensure they help in clearing water drainage and rivers so as to avoid future occurrence.
We are calling the government attention to look at how the stream is, if you can coverage how the damage of that's our bridge near our own house, it need to be maintained. You understand? It need to be maintained. It needs the attention of government to look at how the stream it is. It's very bad, and we have a lot of small children from 3, 4 above 5, 10 years.
For the government to do their possible best, though before government do their own, we are living in the area like this, we have to give our own contribution towards the development of the environment. Because if we said I will rely on government 100%, it will be difficult for government because they have a lot to do. So we have to start doing our own, so that government may realize that they will do better for us, they will help us. But we are calling on government to do better for this community, because if you look at the place, there is a lot of houses in the place, and if this keeps happening, then people will keep losing their lives.
Chief Information Officer NEMA Northwest Halima Suleiman says some communities have characteristics which make them more vulnerable, including high proportions of blocked waterways. Communities who may not have local knowledge and access to messages about the risk of floods are also vulnerable.
Proper solid waste management is not all about cleanliness, because the improper solid waste disposal is a major cause of flooding, and it affects our public health, it pollutes the environment, And we're trying to make people aware that flooding is actually caused by human interference. It's one of the major causes, human interference. So we are trying to stem the habit of people dumping refuse anyhow.
Halima says the National Emergency Agency has created different ways making communities more aware, including engaging fresh graduates serving the country on the things that causes flood.
The Community Development Service Group with the NYSC, that's the NEMA NYSC CDS group. Part of their community development service is to clear the drainages, to make people aware, to reawaken the community's habits of cleaning their drainages and to desist from the improper disposal of refuse.
Now it's time to do a reminder of news that made headlines during the week. Tracking the Week is up next.
Hello and welcome to Tracking the Week. On Monday, a federal high court in Abuja dismissed a suit instituted against the federal government by the family of the late head of state, General Sani Abacha, challenging the revocation of the property of the former military ruler located in the Maitama district of Abuja. Justice Peter Lifu dismissed the suit in a judgment on the case filed 9 years ago in which the Abacha family members are demanding for the return of their father's mansion located at Osara Close in Maitama and 500 million naira compensation. In the judgment, Justice Lifu predicated the dismissal on various grounds, among which are that the suit had become statute barred at the time it was filed in 2015 and that those who initiated the case have no local standing to do so. The suit was filed by Mohammed Sani Abacha, the eldest surviving son of the former military ruler, and the widow Hajia Mariam Abacha, on behalf of the executioners of the estate of the late military general. Listed as the first to fourth defendants in the suit are the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Federal Capital Development Authority, the President, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and Salam Ventures Limited. The new dismissal of the suit marked the fourth time the family would lose legal battles on the property in court, having lost twice at the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory and once at the Court of Appeal in Abuja on grounds of jurisdiction. Still on Monday, the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja upheld the nomination of Asiu Ighodalo as governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Edo State. In an anonymous judgment delivered by Justice A. Lamido in the suit, the appeal court on Monday, 22nd July 2024, dismissed an appeal brought by former Deputy Governor Philip Shaibu, challenging the May 27th judgment of Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court Abuja, which held that Dr. Asiu Ighodalo is a rightful and duly nominated candidate of the PDP in Edo State. The appellate court held that the trial court was right and unassailable in its ruling that the appellant did not satisfy the condition precedent before instituting the action. Therefore, the suit was premature. The court also affirmed the trial court's decision that appellant failed to prove his allegations of vote allocation against the respondent. It stated that the conduct of an election as well as results are presumed regular until the contrary is proved, and there was no evidence from the affidavit of the appellant to show votes were allocated to the phoned respondent. On Tuesday, President Bola Tinubu asked Nigerian youth, especially those planning to embark upon nationwide protest, to shelve the planned action and wait for the maturity of government policies aimed at regulating the economy and reducing the sufferings of the masses. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, made the appeal while fielding questions from journalists after a meeting with President Bola Tinubu at the Presidential Villa Abuja. He said the president does not see any need for the protest as his government is doing all it could to ensure that the country is better off. The minister said the president has had all the complaints of the citizens and is doing more to attend to them. He said government has set out more plans such as a minimum wage bill, which has been passed by the National Assembly, among other interventions that the president has put in place in the interest of Nigerians. He said the young people must listen to the president and allow him more time to see to the realization of all the goodies he has for them. Still on Tuesday, the House of Representatives passed a bill to increase the minimum wage of workers from 30,000 naira to 70,000 naira, giving legal backing to the recently agreed upon amount between labor unions, the private sector and the government. The executive bill, which has been passed, also reduces the consideration period for a new minimum wage from 5 to 3 years. The House expedited the passage of the bill to ensure immediate implementation as requested by the President. Additionally, the House passed the amended Police Act, which includes a new subsection allowing the Inspector General of Police to serve until the end of the appointed term, as stipulated in the letter of appointment. On Wednesday, President Bola Tinubu has centered the Northwest and Southeast Development Commission bills into law, thereby setting the stage for the establishment of the two interventionist agencies to address development challenges in the Northwest and Southeast parts of the country, respectively. Following years of insecurity, the Deputy President of the Senate and sponsor of the Northwest Development Commission bill, Senator Jibrin Barau, disclosed the presidential assent to the bill during a chat with journalists in Abuja. Correspondent Kunujo reports that expressing his happiness on the presidential assent to the bill, the Deputy President of the Senate in a media chat with journalists said the commission, when established, would help to drive development across the 7 states in the Northwest Zone. Similarly, Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Benjamin Okeze Kalu, expressed what he called an extravagant gratitude to the President Bola Tinubu for signing the Southeast Development Commission bill into law. Still on Wednesday, President Bola Tinubu also received former Senate President Pius Anyim, who recently decamped from the People's Democratic Party (PDP) to the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC). Senator Anyim was led to the presidential villa by the governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, who chairs the Southeast Governors Forum and Progressive Governors Forum alongside the governor of Ebonyi State, Francis Nwifuru. Senator Anyim, who explained why he left his party for the APC, said there was a need to put all hands on deck to frontally confront the challenges facing the country. He said the country was passing through turbulent times and it was the duty of all patriots to ensure a peaceful atmosphere. Governor Uzodinma, who asked the youth to shelve their planned protests on August 1st, described the former Senate President as a big catch for the ruling All Progressive Congress. On Thursday, traditional rulers in the country asked Nigerian youth who are planning to protest the hardship in the country to have a rethink and shelve the plan for peace to reign in the country. The traditional rulers made the call while fielding questions from State House correspondent after a meeting with the president at the presidential villa Abuja. They said though it is their right to protest against any perceived governance, they should also consider government efforts towards reducing the hardship in the country. The royal father commended the president for due engagement of the traditional institutions on issues of national importance, asking the youth to give them a benefit of doubt. They said the president presented them with the blueprint which is aimed at reducing the suffering of the people, calling on the intending protesters to exercise patience and hear the words of wisdom. On security, the royal fathers told journalists that they complained to the president about the security situation in the country, saying if there's security, many people will return to their farms. Still on Thursday, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, revealed that Nigeria lost approximately $10 billion in revenue to crude oil theft between January and July 2024. The Speaker, who was speaking at the commencement of an investigative hearing on crude oil theft and revenue losses, emphasized the impossibility of meeting daily obligations to citizens with such significant revenue loss. Honorable Abbas, who was represented by Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu, stated that those responsible for sabotaging the oil sector are known and will be exposed through the investigation. He expressed disappointment that those entrusted with managing the nation's affairs have prioritized self-interest. The Speaker, however, frowned at the loss of about $10 billion in revenue due to crude oil theft between January and July 2024. On Friday, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, cautioned security agents in the country against detaining suspects beyond the time allowed by law. Fagbemi, a senior advocate of Nigeria, specifically admonished security agents to always abide by provisions of Section 35 of the 1999 Constitution in relation to rights of suspects in their custody. The AGF, who spoke in Abuja at the yearly lecture of the Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, warned that any security agent found detaining suspects beyond the Constitution allowed period will be severely sanctioned. His lecture revolved around governance, security, and human rights, which he claimed to be momentous as it addresses some of the most pressing issues facing the country today. He said that law enforcement agents must do due diligence before arresting anyone, adding that situations where people are languishing in detention cells beyond the time allowed under the Constitution or by order of the courts will no longer be tolerated and appropriated. Sanctions shall be meted out to those found guilty of contravening the laws of the land. Still on Friday, an explosion rocked the popular Buniyadi livestock market in Buniyadi Market in Gujba, local government area of Yobe State. The source of the explosion is suspected to be a planted improvised explosive device and went off around 12:30 p.m., thereby injuring the girl. An eyewitness through telephone conversation confirmed the incident, and the spokesman of the Sector 2 Joint Task Force Operation Hadin K, Captain Mohammed Shehu, also confirmed the incident, saying another IED planted in the market was discovered and successfully detonated by the army. He further explained that the only victim of the explosion is currently receiving treatment at one of the health facilities in Buniyadi. He stressed the incident was a planted IED and not a suicide bombing incident. Buniyadi, located 45 kilometers away from Damaturu, the state capital, was the worst hit local government area in Yobe State under the control of the Boko Haram insurgents for 2 years. And that's what we have on Track in the Week.
Now we move to the international desk for more news. This is news from the international scene. Russian President Vladimir Putin has warned the United States against deploying long-range missiles in Germany, saying Russia, in that case, would restart production of intermediate-range nuclear weapons and station similar missiles within striking distance to the west. The U.S. on July 10 said it would start deploying long-range missiles in Germany from 2026 as part of a longer-time militarization that will include SM-6, Tomahawk cruise missile and developmental hypersonic weapons. In a speech to sailors from Russia, China, Algeria and India to mark the Russian Navy Day in the former imperial capital St. Petersburg, Putin on Sunday said the U.S. risked triggering a Cold War-style missile crisis with the move. Such missiles, which can travel between 500 and 5,500 kilometers, were the subject of the Intermediate-Range Nuclear Forces INF Treaty signed by the U.S. and the Soviet Union in 1987. But both Washington and Moscow withdrew from the Arms Control Treaty in 2019, each accusing the other of violations. Putin, who sent his army into Ukraine in 2022, cast the war as part of a historic struggle with the West, which he says humiliated Russia after the Soviet Union fell in 1991 by encroaching on what he considers Moscow's sphere of influence. The United States has announced plans to overhaul its military command in Japan to bolster defense cooperation as the two countries face what they call the greatest strategic challenge from China. The United States will upgrade the U.S. forces Japan to a joint force headquarters with expanded missions and operation responsibility, U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin told reporters on Sunday after the so-called 2+2 talks between the defense and foreign ministers from the two countries in Tokyo. The U.S. has about 54,000 military personnel in Japan, who currently reports back to the Indo-Pacific Command in Hawaii, Indo-PACOM, some 6,500 kilometers away and 19 hours behind. The move will give the U.S. forces Japan's greater capability whilst still reporting to Indo-PACOM. The revamp comes after Russia said it was committed to strengthening military ties with North Korea. Russia's President Vladimir Putin visited North Korea last month as Moscow tries to boost ties with Pyongyang and maintains freezing ties with the West. The Israeli military says it carried out a series of strikes across Lebanon after blaming Hezbollah for Saturday's deadly attack in the occupied Golan Heights, as its Ministry of Foreign Affairs said the Lebanese group had crossed the red line, raising fears of regional escalation. The Israeli military said on Sunday its jet boomed weapons depot and infrastructure belonging to Hezbollah in Bekaa Valley in eastern Lebanon, in Shebriha and Buraj al-Shimali near the southern city of Tyre, and the villages of Kafar Kila, Rabel Talentine, Kiem and Tyre Arfa. Israel's foreign ministry on Sunday blamed Hezbollah for the rocket attack on the football ground that killed 12 people. Hezbollah has categorically denied responsibility for the attack. There has been unconfirmed claims that a failed Israeli interceptor missile may have caused the incident. Iran, Hezbollah's regional ally, warned Israel against any new adventure concerning Lebanon using the Majd al-Shams incident as an excuse. After 10 months of mass killing in Gaza Strip and mass murder of Palestinian children and women, the apartheid Israeli regime is trying to distract public opinion and global attention from its wide-ranging crimes in Palestine using a fabricated scenario. Iranian Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesman Nasir Kanani said in a statement on Sunday, adding that Israel will be responsible for any moves that will further destabilize the region. Still on the international scene, a fire raging out of control in Northern California has rapidly become among the biggest ever in the western U.S. state, authorities said on Saturday. The park fire burned more than 350,000 acres as of Saturday evening, making it the fifth largest in the state's history. The California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection CAL FIRE said. The fire, which prompted orders for more than 4,000 people to flee their homes, was burning through a largely rural, mountainous area near Chico City, about 90 miles north of the state capital, Sacramento. That torpedoed the ambitions to topple the governing party. Lastly, on the international scene, France's national rail operator says it has finished repairing infrastructure damaged in a suspected coordinated arson. State-owned SNCF said most trains were running as planned on Sunday